That's crazy. And they're predicting that by 2012, Morgan Stanley predicted last June 2010, by 2012, smartphones will overtake PC shipments. So smartphones is a subcategory of mobile phones, which are basically more powerful and more powerful versions of your regular phones. And that's what the mobile apps are running on these days, the popular platform smartphones. And there are actually, in 2009, there were 100 million smartphone users. But by 2013, they're predicting that there will be 1 billion. Wow, that's crazy. 1 billion out of maybe 8 billion people, or maybe less, in 2000. So 1 out of every 8 people in the world will have a smartphone. In 2009, 173.5 million smartphone sales. In 2010, this was as of September, 269.6 million. And the year didn't even end. So there was incredible growth in smartphone sales. So that's the hardware. The platform where the mobile app runs. In 2009, the revenues for smartphone apps, 1.7 billion. In 2010, so far, August 2010, that's just 8 months, 2.2 billion. So it's a growing market. It's a very big market. And it's just going to grow even bigger in the future. Like what they said, it could reach $15 billion by 2013. So this is one market that I think a lot of people would want to be in. So, sorry about the numbers, but there are a lot of numbers really. So, 4.5 billion in 2009, 25 billion in 2015. A different company released the projections. So, they're very optimistic about the mobile app market. 7 billion mobile app downloads in 2009, 50 billion by 2012. That's almost times 2 in just a matter of 3 years. Of course, these are just projections. They might be optimistic, they might even be pessimistic, but no one predicted the growth of the App Store, mobile apps a few years ago. I mean, if you were to ask a normal smartphone user a few years ago, what apps do you have on your phone? Maybe they have 1, 2, or 3. I had a Nokia E61, I had maybe 3, 4 apps. But now on my iPhone, I have more than 100 apps. I mean, it's crazy. Just a few years ago, can you imagine? Okay, so how? How do you start developing for mobile apps? Of course, the first thing you choose is the platform. Numlock is active in the Apple App Store, so we're active in iOS. We're starting to be active in Android, though the Street Smart, since it was a tie-up with Globe, there's an agreement that they can exclusively distribute the app, Street Smart for Android, although the iPhone version is available in the Apple App Store. So as a personal choice, I chose Apple and Google Android. But remember, Apple is not the #1 smartphone platform worldwide. It's not even BlackBerry, but BlackBerry is a player with the BlackBerry app world. Nokia is the #1 smartphone platform worldwide. Although they haven't taken advantage of the developers, the platform is there. So you can sign up with the Nokia OV Store. Palm was a big player 10 years ago. Palm Pre, the Palm 3 series of PDAs. Now they're a small player, but they have a very nice platform. So if you want to take the risk, and recently HP bought them. So they have the HP juggernaut behind them. So if you want to take the risk, go with HP Palm. You can sign up for the Palm app catalog. And of course, we can never discount Microsoft. Windows CE was the darling of the mobile industry a few years back as well. I had an XDA before. I loved it. But after Apple released the iPhone, after Android surged, they became forgotten. But recently, they launched an outstanding platform, Windows Phone 7. So if you're a Microsoft guy, check it out. Windows Marketplace for mobile. So you can see there are a lot of choices. You're not stuck with 1 or 2 platforms. You can choose any platform and write programs for it. So how do you start? What tools do you need? Okay, for Apple, actually, you have the iOS SDK and the Mac. So there's no way around it. If you want to develop for Apple, for iOS, you need the Mac. For Android, you can choose your platform, Linux, Mac, or Windows, and use Eclipse. Not just with Android, but also for BlackBerry and for Palm. That's the recommended setup. Eclipse plus any of those platforms. Nokia with the Qt SDK for the OV Store, either any platform plus the Qt SDK. Windows Phone Developer Tools requires Microsoft Windows. So you have a lot of choice. It's really up to you. Okay, so devices, okay. Here's one big difference about developing for the web and developing for mobile. Actually, when Numlock started out in 2008, we were a web company. One of our partners, she was a PHP, MySQL veteran. We envisioned ourselves as a web company when we started out. But after a few months, we decided to do mobile. So one big difference is that you have to invest in test devices. That will take up a big portion of your budget. No way around it. Unless, of course, you sign up with sites like Device Anywhere, which provides outsourced on-device testing. But of course, there's nothing like testing it on an actual device. If you thought multi-browsers was difficult, can you imagine multi-devices? iOS is relatively easy. You only think about the three devices: iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch. The iPhone and the iPod Touch, the specs are normally in parallel. So actually, it's the iPhone/iPod Touch and the iPad. But of course, the iPhone 4 with its higher resolution is another factor to consider. Android, here. Android, there are tons of devices, from the China knockoffs, the iPad, the iPad, the ePad, I mean, all those non-iPads, all the way to, of course, the Galaxy Tab, which is the, I guess, as of now, the most lust-worthy Android tablet in the market. And of course, you have the tons of tablets being introduced in CES. Some run Android, some run Windows. Although that's not the Windows Mobile, it's the Windows desktop platform. So, BlackBerry, lots of devices as well, but still the selection is quite limited. So it's really up to you. Migo, Symbian, Mimo. Migo, Symbian, Mimo are all Nokia platforms. Although, if I'm not mistaken, Migo, they've chosen Migo as their platform of choice moving forward. Palm Web OS and Windows Phone 7. So there. So when you choose a platform, you invest in a test device, and you go with it. Okay, so to be honest, the mobile developers in the Philippines are few. There are very few companies that are dedicated to mobile development. Some of the big companies who started out with other platforms are also moving to mobile or expanding into mobile. But among the startups, there are very few, mostly freelancers and entrepreneurs. And of course, sometimes you need help, maybe you have questions. I'm actually a founding member of the Philippine Mobile Developers Group. We're a small group. We're composed of developers enthusiasts. You can sign up with Google Groups or Facebook group, or find us on Twitter. So there. So if you need help with mobile, if you have questions, feel free to join the group. So there. And of course, at any time, if you have any questions or any requirements for development, you can get in touch with us at Numlock. So our website is www.numlock.com.ph. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. I'm also on Twitter as Phil Jedi. And we're also on iTunes if you want to check out the apps.